philosophical foundation of education. There is kind of a lot of philosophical trend about thought and about life and about the phenomena that we are facing. But we cannot say that, oh, this is what I have. But there is a lot of philosophical disciplines and kind of thought, but always maybe we could be influenced by one major philosophical discipline, but here and there we influenced by others, still we gotta know that even though I can say, oh, I have this philosophical position, but still you are influenced other philosophy or position or thought, right? So there is only one philosophical influence on our life, but it's kind of we have a lot of different things, but maybe we have a major one. So before we learn about the philosophical foundation of the education, so we gotta know that worldview. I don't know. Last week we talked about a little what is the worldview. Because philosophy is kind of there is a lot of coming up, still ongoing, and new thought is coming up, and then kind of there is kind of influenced by but against, and they create a different way, and they think in different way and different perspective, and then that's why there is a lot of philosophical disciplines. So this disciplinaries, I mean. So before we kind of go over the kind of philosophical influences on our life, and then what kind of philosophy we are facing, we are influenced. But before that, we're gonna learn about a little bit worldview. What is a worldview? Literally, kind of you see how you see the world. So maybe just think about it. When if I wearing the green glasses and the what, I can see everything's green, right? If I wear the red glass and everything is red, if you wear the dark glass and then everything's dark, right? That's the kind of a worldview. So everybody has different kind of glasses to see the world and kind of perceive the world, but they have different perspective, right? That's the worldview. So maybe the dictionary definition is a particular philosophy of life or the conception of the world, right? If you have like me, and I'm a Christian, right? My name is Christian, but I'm a Christian, and it means that I have land with a Christian perspective. If you are non-Christian, but if you have maybe kind of realism and maybe postmodernism and maybe existentialism, maybe I don't know which philosophy influence you mainly, but still that's a kind of a worldview that see that the kind of land that see the land to the see the world, right? That's the land to see the world, right? And so worldview is kind of can you see the all the way the pictures? And then there is I cannot find the right one, but still Yeah, another kind of a definition is like the worldview or worldview is the fundamental cognitive orientation of the individuals or society encompassing the whole of the individual society's knowledge and point of view. So if you are Chinese, if you are Korean, if you are Caucasian, they have kind of a fundamental cognitive ability, kind of cognitive orientation that influenced by society, influenced by education, that kind of a government or educator influence you guys, right? That is a worldview. Kind of a fundamental cognitive orientation. So we cannot see that. Just think about it, the top pictures, and then top picture, and then just think about worldview is all the way bottom. That before you behave something, before you kind of, there is a worldview right here. Your kind of fundamental cognitive orientation is there, and this one gives a kind of assumption that, oh, I'm gonna, maybe this one, and then goes you, and then kind of assumption is there, and then you believe, and then there is a belief, you form the belief. And then based on the belief, what? Your values. Kind of until the cubic iceberg, and then some part of the you can see it's visible, right? Top part on the ocean and the water, and then you can see the visual wonder. That is behavior based on your worldview. Worldview kind of produce your what? Assumptions. Assumption produce your belief. You are not sure, kind of a mental imaging, but you are not sure, but you believe. And then based on your belief and what? Your value is formed, and based on your value, you behave, right? If you're from the very honest society, and no. So if you come from the very collective society, like Asian countries, and then Islamic countries, and they're really collective, right? They always think about family, they always think about community, home. But if you're from another Canada, and then America, and then other European countries, and they are really individualistic. It's not selfish, that's different. Individualism is not selfish. A lot of people are, whether you come from the collective society or individualistic society, selfishness is there, right? But individualistic is kind of you take care of yourself. Even though you don't think about a lot of others in detail, and you don't care about too much, but still you take care of yourself, and then what? You take responsibility for what you do, right? That's a different kind of perspectives, and then just think about it, kind of a different worldview, and for example, this here, and I go to Caucasian church, right? Every Sunday, it's been almost 10 years, but I'm from South Korea, right? And then Korea is really collective countries, and then I feel like I'm really I got influenced a lot by the Western education and then other things. I'm pretty individualistic, but I tried to I've been tried to mingle with American people, and then their lifestyle is so different. I know that I felt that I'm the pretty influenced a lot by the Western culture, and I'm close to the, we said second generation. So second generation is different. Second generation Korean American is really different from the first generation. Even though I'm a first generation, I'm really kind of comfortable with the second generation, more comfortable with the second generation than first generation. Depends on how you think and how you see, and based on your worldview. So just think about it. What kind of worldview do you have? Maybe we are from the different society, and then just the major things kind of it's influence on your cognitive influence, orientation, and then maybe if you're from China and it's totally from totally different from those who from Japan, right? It's different, So I can say that there is a major kind of a worldview, like influenced by the society, but there is kind of a little it's not a world with sub-influence and anyway, there is kind of influence is there. Major influence is there, and there is maybe political system, and then there is minor influence like family and family values, and then comes together, and then you have your own formed your own worldview, right? Just know that, So even though you're from kind of communist country, and then everybody's different. Some are really open to other political system. Some are really kind of moderate. Some are very conservative to their own political system. Everybody is different though, because even though they have they raised in the society, kind of help them to form their worldview, but still it's not all the way same. Once you form it, worldview can even though you formed the worldview, kind of elementary school or junior high school is kind of changed little by little, but not completely changed. Maybe if you have major influence on your life, maybe change it totally different, right? It's changeable, but it's really hard. It's really hard. If you don't change your worldview, and then your behavior kind of you can still you have your own things, but still you can you may please people, and you just do with your pretense, right? There is kind of another kind of explanation is there. There's a culture is there, right? Just think about and superficial areas, kind of forms and behaviors, and kind of we can see the product of the society and product of the individual. There's a surface level of a culture. But what's deep all the way inside down is you cannot see. Can you see your assumption and belief and values? No, we cannot see it, right? It's not. They are not invisible, but still, it's kind of produce your behavior based on that one. But all the way bottom, worldview is there. So I hope you guys think about what kind of worldview you guys have, and then how you behave. But remember that even though you come from the same countries, you came from the same families, and then they are different, right? That's basically it's kind of big oriented, cognitive orientation may be same, but individual kind of, there is always individual differences. And I have two daughters, right? They are totally different though. One is, my older one, she's all kind of, laid back, relaxed style. Relaxed. She's relaxed, and then she doesn't put, she doesn't herself push it too, she doesn't push herself too much, right? Always there's room to, there's room to do something else. Even though she is studying big things, but still she cannot focus 100% right here because she can. She plays violin, and maybe I think it's a more kind of, her orientation is more artistic or kind of a non-organized, not organized very well, like who study science major. But my little one is totally different though, right? She studies science, and then she set a kind of a schedule every day. She knows what to do, and she organizes, and she wants to do that. Even though, they raised in the family, but their personality is totally different, right? I know they are Christians. They have a conviction that, conviction in their heart. They went through a lot of stuff during the college year because of their faith, their kind of a political orientation, but they went through. Sometimes, America is really, unequal and so open, another, kind of an opportunity for everybody. That's true, but there is a lot of things going on, like BLM, Black Lives Matters, and nowadays anti-Semitism and anti-Asianism. And there's a lot of discrimination, though, right? So before you go, when you go to college, there's no equality. I don't know whether you guys know that the system of American education system and society is still, I know majorities Caucasian, they established this country so with their big effort, right? But when they go to college, there's a quota is kind of already assigned. Every college is kind of there's amount of the Caucasian people. There's amount of people of the what? Number of people for the what? Asian Americans. So every school, private school, and especially the prestigious and private school, there's a kind of quarter is there. And mostly Asian people is about 20%, around 20-30%, 20% around there, less, a little less or more or less, and then eventually just think about it, I don't know. And I have two daughters, and then just think about, and it's a lot of a population in different countries, but they are all over the different states. When you go to college, and they are really all over the, I know it's California is the largest state, and then they assign a lot of students, but still there is, if you are Asian, you got to compete with Asian, not to compete with the Hispanic and black and white. You know what I'm saying? That's American society. If you go to professional school, my little one, she already jumped in. She studied in professional schools, and there's the same. One school that, okay, we want diversity, and then there's a big portion about the different groups here. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about is that always, even though we are influenced by even though we have our cognitive orientation is influenced by the society, and still there is individual difference, because individual takes a lot of different things, right? From education, from other people, and from the mass media and whatever, right? That's why they process it and they had, oh, this is what I want. This is I wanna live with this one, and then that's a part of your life and impact on your kind of adjust your worldview. And from that time, and based on your worldview, and you could calculate, and then you create the assumption and then belief and your kind of values, and then behavior coming out. That's a worldview, okay? So think about it. A lot of people think in different, see the world in different way, with different perspectives. So you gotta know that there is kind of Christian's worldview. Just kind of interesting. No, it's easy to understand, and that's why I putting this one, and then I got this one. And just think about it. Fundamental base is what? All the time we have a Bible, right? But other people think about some material, some people is mental, we're going to talk about it, but we have a Bible. That's the foundation, really base. And then, based on this one, we formed our belief, like Jesus Christ our Lord, and what? Based on the what? The Bible, love one another, like this. Be kind to others, and then like this. And we form the kind of the principle of our behaviors. That's the values and belief. And then just think about, even if you grew up in different cultures, and then you gotta process how you express this one, right? And then just think about it in American cultures. Sometimes that's a part of language, but say you to their parents. Say, you gotta do it. Okay. Sometimes they don't say, Mom, Dad, can you do this one? And they don't say, you need to do this one. It's a kind of if you're from the kind of collective countries, you feel like kind of rude, right? So rude, right? But nowadays it's kind of a little bit different, changing. Kind of the first generation's perception is changed, but early, so how can you say that your parent is you, and how can you say you to your grandpa like this? And but nowadays that's the language that they use, right? And so even though we have a Bible, kind of our basic foundation, and then we form the values and then belief based on the Bible, but everybody has kind of pick up different things, right? We agree, but some part of when they have and then different things, and they behave different way there. But that is the personal cultural rules of life, and then how can you behave in the society, and then your actions and behaves coming out. That's a kind of it's easy to explain the Christian worldview, but it's not a detail. We don't talk about this part in detail, right? We're gonna talk about kind of foundational part later. So how can you, this is from the James Sire, and then if you want to know the worldview and then just a question about that, the question about them with these questions is about 7 questions, and just think about it. What is the pure prime reality? What is the really real? Agnostics, there's nothing we cannot know sure. But just think about some of them gods, some of them no God. Some of them is kind of everything's our mental image, and everything is about just the material that we can see. That is really important importance to start. What kind of worldview I have. Just think about what is the nature of the external reality. The world around us. Can you see that one? Just think about it. It is created, is kind of formed in the automation to feed and survive, right? That's kind of a different, how you recognize not the eventual stuff and external kind of outside world. How can we recognize? That is also really important things. Some of them, And what is the human being? Just think about it. What is a human being? It's like animal. It's like chimpanzee. We are a little advanced from that kind of a group? No. What about we said a human being now? Well, we are created in the image of God. It's not, we are totally different from animal. Right? It's kind of a different perspective. And just think about, human are good or human are not good. So a lot of some people are like humanism, and then they believe that humans are good from the birth. They are good, and because that's why they can educate them and they can let them do something. But in the Christianity, so human is not good, right? So I don't know whether when you think about and Chinese philosophy and Korean philosophy and every famous people and famous philosophical position, and then see the human being different. What about the Indians, Hinduism, right? What about what happened to a person at death? After you die, what's going to happen? After your parents, your grandparents passed away, and what happened? After life. There is afterlife, or just go back to the material? Third, like this. Just think about it. And that's why some religion, if they have afterlife, we will not consider the religion, but think about Christianity, If you are not atheist, if you are not a theist, if you are atheist, it's nothing. And we come back to the dirt, right? The job, earth, right? The job. But just think about Hinduism. The life is just cycle, then cycle, then cycle. If you do this one better in this life, and then you expecting better life next coming, right? But that is kind of a circular, right? Hinduism in life is circular, but Christianity is kind of straight, right? Why is it possible to know anything at all? How? And there's a kind of the idea that we are made in the image of God and all know the God, and it is possible to know anything, right? Yes. What about how do you know what is right, what is wrong? That's your values. Let's just think about it. Worldview. Previously, your assumption is there, right? That is assumption is that is kind of values. And what about the last one? What is the meaning of human history? Just I'm the extent of my parents' love? What do you think? So if you are Christian, you might have a different perspective. I am created by God in the image of Him, image of God, and He has a special plan for me. That's why He sent me through my parents. That's our perspective. It's not an accident of my parents loving each other, right? Just think about what is the meaning of it. You got to think about history. History means that a lot of already formed a lot of outcomes, right? We could see detail and culture produce something, right? Each kind of action and behavior part. Just think about these 7 questions. Maybe you don't have it, but if you Google it, like the universe of next door by James Sire, and then book is out there, and then the word of question, and you can see that one. Okay, let's kind of differentiate the Christian worldview and the non-biblical, non-Christian's worldview. So our worldview is kind of a God created the world in order and purpose and image of, and we have a value of life like this, right? That's the Christian belief. What about the non-biblical worldview? They usually base on the kind of nowadays after Darwinism, and then kind of evolution is kind of giving out a big influence all over the area, and philosophy and educations and the economy and anything. But just think about basic premises. I don't know if it's true or not, but little cell develop like a complex, complicated human being. That's the kind of we are the random chance, right? And survival of the fittest. If you want to survive, you're gonna fit into the circumstance. And they fight each other in the what? Winner is kind of survive and gain the what? Control it. Loser is kind of what? Nowadays, why it's really ELM and other and other things is coming on, coming around, and really issues in America, and then becoming issues in America is whatever critical theory, right? That one is kind of based on that one, and that one is really influenced by the Marxism. They understand the kind of oppressor and oppressed. That is a kind of basic, fundamental understanding of the world. That is a basic, dynamics. They always. That's why they was oppressed and then try to get their right and power. So critical theory is a kind of there is two societies consist of two groups, and then try to figure it out. Right? They research and study, and then there's inequalities there, and then how can we make equal society? Right? Because I don't know how, based on the evolution, and then there is no equality though, right? There's always dominant is there, and in that the kind of weak is there. Survival of the fittest, right? Fittest. And just think about the the biblical worldview and Christian's worldview is what? The fall, human being kind of and they kind of human being broke the God's covenant promises, and human beings fail, right? So they needed to redeem. They needed to kind of get over the failure by something. That's why it's four is really big things in worldview, and then that's why we say that we have a simple nature. Everybody is simple, right? Sinner. But I mean that we don't mean that the kind of in terms of law, we don't violate much, right? It's not in legal term, but we basic understanding is human is kind of sinner, right? Human has a simple nature, but just think about when there's kind of against God, and they don't follow God's way. But the non-biblical, and non-Christian's worldview is that human beings are basically good and can learn eternity by act of goodness, right? It means that I can be good and my life is good. That is totally different. Again, and then what is redemption? Mean that we cannot go to eternity. Maybe we go in different way in Christian. One is we say that hell, one is God's kingdom, and what? If we're not kind of reconciled with God again in peace and love, and what? That is we need kind of a reconciliation. So that's why God reveals Himself in what? Coming down, coming down to the world and then become a human being, like a Christ. So Christ, came to become a human being. Christ is a God and become a human being, and His what? Mission is to bring, kind of make a bridge between God and human being to reconcile with God, right? That is we need that one. So we need to be righteous through Christ. But that's why it's kind of a human being is, but non-biblical worldview is kind of there's many sources of truth. choices keep evolving though, changing. There is no only way. Now, there's a lot of different ways, like relativism and pluralism, right? It's a different. And there is a reconciliation and this consummation is Jesus Christ made his way, and then he's gonna coming back, and then our history complete. But the non-biblical worldview is mankind is becoming better and better, but after that, that's all. Right? But our is kind of biblical worldview is kind of redemption through Jesus Christ and reconciled from God, and what? Later on, we have afterlife. But there is a non-biblical worldview is generally don't have the eternity. It's another way to see the kind of biblical worldview and Christian worldview. Maybe, a little bit different, but Bible is simpler, right? And basically it's the same. Basically it's the same. And then to think about it, let's go over the kind of philosophy of the, I'm going to go over this is not philosophy class, this is an education class, right? Educational class, and then I'm going to go through, quick go through the basic philosophy of the world, and then how this kind of influence on education, and what kind of philosophy in education is created, and they try to educate, right? That's today's lecture. Before we go to that one, world is really important because that you learn to understand, see the world, right? That the world is your cognitive orientation influenced by society, but you have a lot of different influence from the other environment, right? What about the kind of, we gotta know this one. You don't have to, this major one is kind of, but materialism. And what is the prime reality? They said that doesn't matter what the cosmos exists eternally. So it's not created by someone, and Christianity is that God created the universe, but they don't acknowledge that, and they just always there, always there, and then it's all there is, and we will ever. That is their eternity, right? What is the nature of the external reality? That is the world around us, and then there is a kind of uniformity of the cause and effect system. They try to understand about just Christianity is everything is God's hand, God is in control. But they said that, okay, there is some cause and effect. Mostly our education is that, because of you this one and you got that one, right? That one. Sometimes it's true, but sometimes everything you cannot explain that way. Even though sometimes to think about it, even though you don't do anything wrong, but something happened bad, right? And just think about it, and really, complicated, but there is no way. Try to understand the word, what cause and effect. But Christianity is not really though, right? And what about it? But still, Christianity is kind of, is kind of the Christianity is kind of it is more open, but it's kind of keep evolving this one. What is the human being? Then we said created by God, God's image, and that it's a complex machine, like composed of the matter, now, but fully understood, right? Can you make a complex, automated like a machine? What about the basic? It's not the basic kind of premises that we are going over. What of the why is it possible to load anything at all? And then how? They try to create the science. It's a logic and experiment, and you can explain it, and okay, I take it. If you don't prove it, just think about a lot of stories, and they cannot explain, right? They cannot do that. It's out of your kind of common sense, we say, logic and science and reasoning, and then out of that one, and then it's kind of weak, right? They don't take it. But we know that God manifests a lot of things through nature and through the Bible. So that's why we understand the word. What about the meaning of the human history? They said just a linear stream of event, no significant importance. Just linear, go one by one by one by. But sometimes, sure the mistake, but we don't have kind of we don't believe that everything is kind of happened by accident, but in God's purpose, right? Kind of different. What about the death? Dissolved. If you die, that's all, nothing. But we are going back to God, right? Right? And some of them is kind of goes a different way, but we Christians go back to God's kingdom. That's different. What happens in person's death, right? Yeah, that's one. And what about how do we know what is the right, what is wrong? They said values kind of made man-made and relate to only the human being, and formatic originated in man's mind. Ethics are transcendent, is based on the character of God as good. This is totally different from God, from this human-made, man-made. That's a kind of materialism or naturalism. Another one is naturalism. I don't know you guys, and then what kind of your perspective you have if you are not a Christian, and then this is kind of a different one. What about the existentialism? They believe that God does not exist. What is the primary reality? No. They believe that as a cosmos, what is the nature of eternal reality? So what is that one? Cosmos made by matter. Reality neither subjective or but reality may be subjective or and objective. There is no big difference, right? They don't think about the kind of basic functions. Everything is there, right? But how do you understand the human being? existence, proceed, and essence. That is a kind of Descartes. It's a really different though. Just most Christians say that there is a God, right? Essence is there, and because of that, and what? Existence is there, being is there, like a human being, but it's kind of reversed now. Yeah, existentialism and then reverse, and then okay, if I'm not here, nothing existed. No, makes sense. It doesn't matter anything, right? That kind of, yeah, that's why devil is a kind of being is myself is kind of centered. If I'm not there, nothing is there. But we believe that just what if others like? What about natures? Devil is a only centered being, right? Human being, self, itself. What about how can you know yourself? No, I mean, why it is possible to know that anything at all? Just think about all knowing is based on man's own construction by education or by experience, through experience, or that's you can know them. Just think about if you don't know and then nothing existed, right? Sometimes, a lot of people, every culture has a different perspective, and just think about, I don't know the other culture, but there is not exist. No, still there. To me, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know them. I don't know them. We should say that, but it's not existed because it's out of my sight, out of my experience. No way. What about the history? The current is really important. So Christianity is kind of evolving. We go to kind of consummation, right? But they say history is observed, right? The current life is the most important thing. What about what happened in the present death? There is no purpose, direction. It's kind of similar. Just think about, we can't tell no good, evil. That one is kind of definite, but no. That one is kind of, that's the ultimate state of observability. We go back to history, just think about it. And, sorry, I little bit missed up the history. History is the inner stream of the event, link the cause and effect without any purpose, but that one is like that, and this is a purpose, right? Yeah, that is ultimate state of absurdity. So, what about the ethics? And then man must revolt against the objective world and create value himself. So, objective world is kind of there is always there, but being is more important than the objective world, right? So I can create my values. That's just really, really, different from. Just think about a little bit, but without me, it's nothing. That's existentialism. What about postmodernism? There's pantheism and New Age, and there's deism, a lot of different nihilism, philosophies there, but currently, so we deal with kind of in our education, and then just think about existentialism and naturalism, and naturalism is kind of, and there's a realism and idealism, it's a different, so we're gonna go over later. And then, yeah, what about the postmodernism? What is the prime reality? Whereas the postmodernism is kind of, they try to get out of the modernism. Logic and reasoning and scientific proof, they kind of break the modernism's standard, and then they get out of it, and they have their own thing. There is a kind of that language functions are used to construct the meanings. It's known, right? That's why they try to put them on, modernism aside, and then try to follow their own feeling, their own thing. Yeah, that's the kind of previous everything is kind of constructed by the language, and then they use the language functions. And then what is the nature of the external reality? The truth of the universe and reality hidden from us. We don't know. They say we don't know. We cannot feel, we don't see it. So we don't know. What about the human being? Human being makes themselves who they are, and we describe what I is to us. It's really, really self-centered, and usually a lot of people say that if I feel good, it's okay. If you feel okay, it's okay. That's good for you. Just follow like this. And depends on how you make your life. They don't think about ultimate human, the essence of a human being, good or bad, right? And what about why it is possible to know anything at all? Just think about no purely objective knowledge. It's constructed by a human being, and they don't believe that. And storyteller has been power of others, and then they challenge the science, and they challenge the reason, and they challenge the logic. That's why more not everybody more they go to come on kind of a structured and the modern is really, whereas the region is kind of dominant, mind is dominant, whereas postmodernism, your emotion is kind of more dominant than heart, more dominant than your mind, right? What about the history? No history. They said the past is dispersed in the present moment. Not existed. That's all. There is no afterlife. What about ethics? Ethics are created by human being, right? And social good, whatever society takes to be. Just think about what is good. And society says it's good, and that's a good, right? Some societies kind of different kind of value system, and a lot of missionaries kind of struggle with the kind of worldview and worldviews, and then just think about. I watched one of the kind of video clips, kind of movie, and then just think about what is our in American society, and honest is kind of good values, right? But when missionary goes to other countries and then they found that honesty is not a good value in their society. Lying and cheating is good value. Good for them. It's totally different way though. How can we teach the Bible to them? It's totally different, totally different worldview. Yeah, so there is kind of little bit different, the theism and nihilism. Nowadays, it was still a lot of pessimistic on the society, and then they believe that nothing new. What about the theism? And then I'm here, God is there, but still God is kind of aloof from me. That kind of and pantheism is all there is exists the gods. Reality is a kind of hierarchy of the appearance. It's like Hinduism. So you're gonna know that there's postmodernism and postmodernism. I'm gonna talk about a little bit later, but kind of around the 20th century is coming out. They against the kind of challenge to modernism, and naturalism is kind of after just think about enlightenment, and really they kind of challenge about the existing society and then trend, and then they try to create new things, and then that's kind of product is there. Existentialism is kind of just think about 19th century, 10th centuries, and actually, after evolution, industrial evolutions, and then we try to make a society convenient and comfortable, but they have a lot of side effects, like poverty and all kind of issues there. Right now, too, there is a kind of demoralization and human trafficking and kind of oppression and all kind of stuff. And they kind of question about the questions, their status and who we are, and word through the word. And we try to improve our being, our welfare, but still we hurt a lot. That's why we try to find the way, right? That is a kind of existentialism. Interesting is this one. Just think about the world cultural map, and then depends on the society, and then just think about it. Really survival and then self-expressed values as well. Because Western society is really high. Protestant European society, right? That is a traditional values, kind of high and high. But just think about it, really self-expressed, but really the traditional and the secular values is kind of higher, right? Just think about it, this one, African and Islamic and society, and then like maybe Latin America is kind of their self-expression is kind of traditional and secular values is kind of maybe negative is kind of negative, and then really down there, and then just think about it. They follow their one, and they don't speak out much. They just follow the society. So just think about their values, and then kind of expression values, and their thinking values, and really different though. Yeah, so, and European countries and totally different from the Protestant countries. Orthodox is a kind of a Catholic and Orthodox church is different from the Protestant European countries. And Catholic is, just think about it. Orthodox and Catholic and Protestant is kind of totally different, right? In terms of almost same as the traditional and secular values, and then but just think about the self-expressed values, and then the Orthodox Church is kind of always to kind of influenced a lot by the they are really close to the Muslim Islamic countries. Used to be that they kind of the same cultures. Like just think about Coptics, and Coptics really in Egypt, right? Egypt is kind of Muslim countries, But that's why that one is kind of a little bit, so self-expression value is kind of almost same as this one. But just a traditional and the secular value is kind of Orthodox Church is kind of a little bit open more, but Islamic countries is still, African and Islamic countries is kind of a little bit different, right? A little low. They mean that they still, respect the tradition and then try to follow the traditions, Just think about it, if you go to other countries and then because of your business or because of your missions, and think about how they think, who they are, right? Who they are and how they think, how they behave, what they have in their mind. That is a kind of a worldview and then kind of an influence on their trend. Try to, I'm gonna quick go over the kind of philosophy explains on education. So idealism is that we call we said that naturalism, and there is kind of idealism and then realism. There is a two part, and kind of this one is coming out in 19th centuries, in 18th and 19th centuries, and then kind of 20th centuries have continued, and then this is kind of basic understanding of the world and the ontology is kind of reality. So they are always thinking about something real. Reality is found in the realm of the idea, spirit, and mental image, right? They don't think about the material. That's all. Everything is kind of mental. And their kind of a knowledge system, epistemology, it's a knowledge system is that truth is kind of defined as an idea and conscious. Because of everything is just mental. Really. So what if you don't have anything in your mind and then it's not exist, right? So everything you're trying to explain in the mental. And then there is a kind of another one is that their value is axiology, their value is what is the value is what? Idea. It's very abstract, right? Everything is here. You just sit down and thinking and create something, but you don't have to engage with the real world. I don't know how they connected to the real world and what's going on. I know they really concerned about, everything starts from your mind, right? It's kind of the root is Platonism, one of the Greek philosopher. Think about idea is idea. Something is there, right? What about the realism? Realism is, they said as ontology is kind of, understanding of reality is, there is reality is found in the realm of the things and material objects. That's all. It exists beyond our ability to know and understand it. That is, they really focus on the, things and material objects, right? That you cannot. You can see that only. That's real. That's true. Real. What about the system of knowledge? And then truth is defined as what? Observable and often measurable. They usually just think about it, and idealism is not that they bring up to the kind of experiment. That one is kind of observable and what? Measurable. It's kind of more, it's a little bit towards a different way, right? What about the values? Natural laws, there is like Newton's law and a lot of laws out there. But nowadays, kind of laws keep changing. Natural laws change. Depends on how you observe, experiment and how you observe, and then keep challenging. Keep challenging what existing theory and knowledge and But Newton's law is still really influence on them. What about the Neo-Thomism? Thomism? Neo-Thomism is, I don't know, the Thomism is based on the Thomas Aquinas in Middle Ages, and then he really focused on the understanding of the Bible with reason. And that is kind of reviving this in 19th centuries about, just think about modernism after coming out of modernism, and kind of they try to ignore the lot of biblical truth, and then they came out again and then tried to defend their position, right? And that's why their ontologies, the realities found in the physical realm, but also include supernatural dimensions. So they acknowledge it's like naturalism, part of that, because God already created, and then the other part is, but beyond that one, it's not material, just beyond the materials, and then there's something is there, right? Supernatural dimension is there. So their knowledge system, the knowledge system is what? Rational and intuitive. Just think about intuitive is you can quick and get an insight and kind of develop something in theory, but just rational, you gotta find the step by step, like science, right? Because they just think about the supernatural dimension, and then sometimes a lot of people say that, I feel like yeah, God instructs me and God teaches me like this, right? What about the values? The value is kind of try to integrate the physical world and the spiritual world. Yeah. So yeah, after enlightenment, and then modernism formed, and then tried to defend their faith in against the modernism, and then they formed this one, neo-Thomism, right? Another one is pragmatism. I think you heard a lot of this one, and then this is the general idea is about so what is they said the reality is kind of utilitarian and is what works, and then just think about found, and then it is usable, right? It's a utilitarian perspective, and then it works and discovered through the experience, right? How we are different, yeah. It's different, and then yeah, and commercial call. So nowadays a lot of phone calls from the, I don't know how they got my phone number, but it's a commercial call, and I try to block, but they use a lot of different lines, and then I cannot block all of them. Anyway, they say it's usable, it's good. Always question about it, pragmatism. And it works or not. It works, it's valuable. It doesn't work, what is for? Like this. They're kind of, so always they think about the kind of scientific test. Is it good? How outcome gonna be? How we can kind of expect coming like this. And then what about the knowledge system is the knowledge system is really relative. Do you know relative? There is no absolute. Depends on the circumstances, depends on the context, right? There is no absolute knowledge, and then maybe this is good for you and it's good, but it's not good for us, and then that's not good. Like this. This one is a good American society, and that one is a good other context, and then that is not good. Yeah, I partially it's right. I can understand what they're saying, but sometimes I don't know. I'm a Christian, and there is absolute truth. So that one we cannot deny. Which maybe a lot of people say the consciousness in the Bible, consciousness, but kind of that one is kind of built in native, kind of in human's mind, and then What about the values? What is the value is the kind of solve a problem. That is good for the person or society. Is it practical? No. That is the kind of main things. Just think about it. This is kind of based on the pragmatism in education in American society. That's a really practical society. that one is from study usually American society. It's really, really, I don't know. Sometimes it's really dry. Everything is kind of defined by how it works. It's usable. We can predict right and predict something. We cannot, If we cannot, then that's not a good sign. Postmodernism, I already told a little bit, and kind of they really focus on the experience and feeling and individual act. Not like modernism. Modernism try to construct something based on the reason and based on the experiment and based on the experience, but this one is a little bit different, right? I mean say this one is kind of the existentialism. I'm a little confusing. It's not postmodernism and existentialism. Is kind of they really focus on the experience of life and then thinking and feeling and acting individuals. So their reality is kind of individualistic in nature and concept. So everybody can be different, right? Really individualistic. And just think about the knowledge system is truth is defined as being relative and I already told you that's existentialism and values are the kind of that is kind of it's the same as the pragmatism. Truth is defined by what and relatives and then context, but the value is kind of depends on the perspective of the individuals. Meaning because of their relative, right? And person is really important. And just think about, and something's really meaningful. That's why they are really pursuing the meaninglessness, right? They try to find the meaning of life. But just think about it in society, a lot of people in confusion and anxiety and facing a lot of absurd things, and they're facing a lot of meaningless stuff, and then that's why they struggle with life. And whether you are rich, not, and whether you are intelligent, not, and still they try to find their meaning of life. That's existentialism. But they really realities is kind of depends on try to find realities found in individuals. So everything is different. Postmodernism, it's a little bit 20th century. I already told you 20th centuries and kind of against the modernism. Reality is like same as almost existentialism, and then found in one's personal choice. If you choose that one is good for you, that's good. If not good, and that's good, like a personal choice. There is no absolute. And what about the knowledge system is truth is defined to being what? Open-ended and relative. Open-ended, there is some things it's open, some things kind of end, but open-ended, right? It's wide open. And relatives. So think about it. Nowadays, education is a lot of influenced by relativism, pluralism. That's the key things. Just postmodernism and existentialism is a totally different perspective compared with the idealism and compared with what? And realism. That is a kind of based on the what's modernism, but now postmodernism and like New Ages and what's existentialism and then critical theory is kind of really focused on the human conditions. What about the value system? So what is the value? Is culturally defined, and then value is going to be different because the relative and then culturally defined and serve the broaden one's worldview. So they don't believe that mind is only the truth, absolute truth, but they kind of really inclusive and accept the other worldviews, and then culture is different. Sounds kind of great, right? But a little bit different from the Christians' worldview. That one we're gonna do next week about psychology, social science, and with education. But I did time and tried to, if I have time, and I tried to do something. But today I think it's not enough time. Just think about the education application of this kind of philosophy influence and education. How education, how does kind of educational and kind of this philosophy is kind of implanted in their education system, and kind of just think about and we idealism and just naturalism and realism. We can put this kind of essentialism. Essentialism is kind of really traditional kind of education method, and they believe that children should learn the traditional basic subject through, thoroughly, right? So really, they stand in kind of conservative and so just think about, and they try to help the children to contribute to society and civilization through the curriculum. So always kind of just think about your country's education, and then the government has something, right? There is a direction for the education. No, okay, whatever you want to do, just do it. Not kind of education, right? Always there is a curriculum design, one really want to get, and then implement every content and schedules, and then teach. You got to do that. That one is kind of essentialism. So we're gonna see teachers and source of authority who determines the curriculum and goals and method and kind of environment for the learning. So teachers come all they can design and everything, but just a textbook and other things, and just think about it. When I was in Korea around the 70s, 80s, and then there is no other textbooks, the one textbook, right? And published by the government. But in America, it's different though, and a lot of different textbooks. And the teacher role is really important. Teachers plays a main role in education. Students is kind of receive information and data and facts and figures, all the just observe. Curriculum's emphasis on classical and such literature and history and science and mathematics. Yeah, that's my education though. That's my education, my generation in Korea. And method, the education method is lecture, recitation and memorization and learning process as a lacking freedom and creativity, right? I don't know. Nowadays it changed, but yeah, that one is so. We gotta memorize a lot, and sometimes the knowledge we never use it, but I know it helps to develop our mental and critical ability, but still, yeah, it's not relevant a lot. Just social policies reviews the past and transition and social heritage, and just think about it past and how we going to next like this. And that's the education that really focus on traditional way. One of the perennialism is this education is kind of a student really understand about how society is kind of civilized. It's like Western civilizations. And so that one gives a lot of ideas of problem solving in errors, and then try to solve the problem and try to that kind of frame also and Western civilization and then implement other countries students. Not other countries, to students. So the focus teach the idea that everlasting and secret during the truths which are constant, not changing, as a natural human world, right? So just think about it. This one is a little bit, perennialism is kind of it's really dominant. When you go to other countries, their education system is before it's really their own way, but nowadays kind of a lot of people studies and missionary schools, and then they are educated by the Western education system, and they try it in their way, and then they just think about through the all education and apply in the countries, and then how to solve the problems and how we make a better society and like this, and then that's a perennialism, right? So, like I'm the really, I'm from really, I'm from really, kind of Confucianism is kind of dominant, and then Buddhism is a dominant kind of society, but nowadays is a kind of, that education is totally changing from the influence of the American, Western educations, right? So perennialism is a kind of teachers, kind of authoritative and firm, kind of structures of view and kind of mental disciplinary. The teachers kind of teachers' role is really, it's not the dominant like essentialism, but still really, has a lot of power. Teach have a lot of power. Students kind of able to interact with both in rational thought and spiritual intuition, but still they can do that. But curriculum is a traditional subject, and also material for students' spiritual growth, and they put together, right? And this is kind of really tried to this just think about the Western education system. It's very close to it, Christianity and Catholicism, right? That's why they try to kind of implant some, they try to consider spiritual, aspect and then help them to grow and in the spiritual area, right? What about the method and the road to memory? Still, you gotta memorize a lot of stuff, but still drills is there and practice and tryouts there, and but personal reflection and then contemplation. Just think about it. A lot of my education is just one way. Maybe you can question, but it's not deep and it's not related to the real life. But this one is have more, give them reflection and think about deeply and get insight, right? To get insight. That was all. So the social policy kind of developed well-balanced citizens who contribute to their society. That one is kind of but it's really the modernism, as essentialism really focus on the little bit knowledge, but this one is a little bit think about the try to be balanced between the as a rational thought and the spiritual intuition, kind of What about the progressivism? Progressivism is a kind of they believe that, just think about it, everything is in progress, little by little, which is like influenced by Darwinism, progressivists believe that education should focus on the whole child rather than one content and teacher, right? So this is really focus on the kind of really active experimentations. So learning is rooted in the question of learners' rise through the experience in the world. Part of that's why each stage of a day of different learning. It's really active learning. The progressivism is teachers kind of guide and consult and fellow discover of the information of life, about life. Do you know how it's different from the essentialism? Teacher is not just a teacher, like authority, who have authority to teach. What about the student? Participate in selection of the curriculum. So, like a college education, right? You got a basic requirements there, and then you could select some class that you like, but that class is kind of a little different. There is another participant select the curriculum and join to be a participant in the learning process. It's a lot of freedom and choices on students. Curriculum is a kind of most elective and determined by felt need of the student or society. So a lot of European countries kind of take this position, and I know there is a basic thing, but I know the kind of when my kids in high school is in kind of different level of studies and math and English, and they are different level, and they choose they can choose in their the class in their level like this, and then what they need, but this one is kind of they don't focus on the traditional literacy and math and other stuff, and depends on student. The method is problem solving and case studies and utilize problem-solving techniques. Yeah, that one is kind of problem diagnosis, brainstorming, and analysis, and implementation, and that is the way that they usually do, right? So social powers is to solve social problem and dilemmas, and then that is one is I've never been in kind of a little bit tasted in my education, but still my main education in Korea is in like 70 and 80. It's totally different from this perspective. What about the existentialism? Yeah, just the teachers, they don't take the main role to teach, and they are indirect facilitator, kind of facilitator, and the student is there, and then they try to kind of draw their ability, and then that's their role. It's not a teaching. Let them learn, through the class, and that's a kind of indirect. Student is subjective and emotionally get involved, and it's really important. Reality is found in individualistic, right? Existentialism. That's why. Curriculum is based on the question about good and evil, right and wrong, like this, and then, just think about daydreaming about ideal society, but human keep kind of hitting the bottoms and problems and issues, right? That's why they're really skeptical of the law. And societal, we are creating something, right? That's a revolution, industrial revolution is a hope and wealth and convenience, but that is a good one, but what about the other side, right? That's why existentialism is a question about who we are, right? Curriculum is, but method is intense personal inquiry and highly subjective and introspective. It's really subjective. Meaning that there is no wrong and there is no right. Last one, postmodernism. Just think about challenging teachers teachers' role is challenging existing student kind of paradigms of personal, social, and the cultural norms, and then nowadays it's just think about people modernism influence, and then produce a lot of products like we have, right? Structure of the society, structure of the family. So like nowadays to think about the family definitions change, and kind of a little bit changing little by little, and then like this. And what about students in personal awareness and challenge the status quo and ask a question and personal reflection, and then just think about it, what's going on in this world, right? Take a moment and then challenge the status quo, current situations. That's a student, So that's the base, this is a lot of and no, I agree, And what about curriculums in action with multicultural perspective and values, because everybody is different. They really respect their feeling, right? And values, and cultures like this. And usually modern meetings, the culture is something students should learn about, right? But postmodernism said that, just think about the modernist goal of unifying the society result in the domination and exploitation. They think that way about culture. So all cultures are not only equal value, but also continue equally important realities. Minority students must be empowered to fight against the Eurocentric enculturation values, enculturations. It's a little bit changed to the modern structure, and nowadays it's kind of a postmodernism, the millennials and Gen Z. I don't know whether you have a different generation study and generational study, and then they are kind of based on that one. So that's why nowadays the issues are coming out, and then still American society is kind of established on the by modernism. It's a bit different though. And nowadays, kind of critical theory it's not a education, but if you are really minority in this society, to really think one more time. It's not true, but there is affect a lot of people on their education, like a BLM, right? And so philosophy is not just a kind of it's not useful. I personally believe that because I major in philosophy because the reason is different, but I major in philosophy in Korea, and the philosophy is really powerful. So you gotta know that even though sometimes you don't know, but still influence of the all society systems and people, and then that philosophy leading to people's mind. Still education too, right? So maybe it's not only one philosophy and they take the major one and then they created their own things like in education theories, and then that's what we need to know that one. So we need to learn what's going on. We need to learn what's behind all the surface. Surface is not all about, but behind that, we gotta know what philosophy influence on them, right? Like American society really influenced by the pragmatism. But what about we go to other society, and Korea and China and Japan? And, Korea and China is really influenced by the Confucianism, right? Other European societies are kind of really influenced by the Catholicism and Protestant, and they are really different educational background. But we are in America, and then just think about it. So you will always know that our own worldview is different, even though a little bit different, but it's now only absolute worldview, and the philosophical position or the thought is kind of different, but we have a lot of influence by them, right? So we gotta know that which one is major influence on me, and then we're gonna just think about. I want you to think about how you understand the world, and just if you become an educator, how you teach the student. Maybe that one is kind of later on, but that is a kind of basic form your philosophy. So if you don't have a philosophy, if you don't have a theory, right, and then you are not gonna get the right outcome that you really wanna get in education. All right. time is up, and then try to kind of go over the kind of a philosophical trend, and then it's a lot of different analysis and approaches, and then kind of presentations out there. But if I dig in a lot of different ways, and then try to trim down to 4 ways, but still we gotta know the kind of naturalism and Christian and pantheism and kind of a communism, right? It's based on so a little bit different perspective to see the world, and then influence on everybody's life. Okay, if you have any questions, just let me know. And next week we're gonna go over the kind of theological foundation, because this is Christian education, and then we're gonna see what we need to know, and what do we think about it. We have a kind of philosophical foundation as a Christian. I don't know which maybe which one is really feasible, and just think about it, and like little bit perennialism nowadays in American education. So perennialism is kind of close to Christian education, because they try to put the balls, but little bit different. Okay, Christian education is different. Okay, so I hope it's helpful, understand